Photo backgrounds, they can be pesky. I mean, if you've got somebody or something in front of the camera, you don't want them to get lost in the background, right? Blurring the backgrounds can help shift focus, and Photoshop can make that happen. In this video, we're going to go over how to blur the backgrounds of photos. We're going to start with how to isolate the background and then show you how to blur it. Of course, you're going to need Photoshop on your computer to pull this off. And if you don't have it yet, well, just simply follow our link in the description below this video for the best price in Photoshop. All right, so let's get into the tutorial. Start by bringing your photo into Photoshop. After it's open, duplicate the layer that it's on, as it will most likely be locked. And you can do this by right-clicking on the current layer and then clicking Duplicate Layer. Now with the photo on a new layer, without the lock next to it, delete the original one below it. Now we can start working on the photo and its background. The first step to blurring backgrounds in Photoshop is to recognize the background. Of course, you can see it, but we need Photoshop to see it as well. We need to make that Navi connection.
I see you.
We'll cut out our subject and place it on a new layer. There are a few ways to do this, but let's just take the easiest route, shall we? And this is where the Object Selection tool comes into play. Find the Object Selection tool in the toolbar located here. Make sure the Object Finder option in the Tools properties is selected. Now with this tool selected, hover over the person or object that will be your foreground. It should be highlighted in blue when you hover. You know, blue like the Navi.
I see you.
Click on your foreground subject to have it selected. Copy the object by clicking Edit and Copy, or simply press Ctrl+C. Now paste the subject onto a new layer. Create a new layer, select that layer, and then paste the foreground object. You can do this by clicking Edit and Paste, or press Ctrl+V. The ideal way, however, would be by right-clicking and choosing Layer via Cut or Layer via Copy, as this will automatically create a new layer for the copy and pasting. The results? Well, you shouldn't see much of a difference. Your subject is now on a new layer, but the photo should look the same. Now it's time to start blurring the background. Since our background is on one layer, we can apply a blur filter to cover the whole area. Select the background layer and then navigate to Filter and Highlight Blur. You should now see a list of blurring choices to choose from. If you want to add a bit of blur to make the background more subtle in being pushed back, simply select Blur. If you want it a little blurrier, select More Blur. These choices will automatically blur your entire background layer. If you want more control over your blur, the other blur options below, More Blur, have better customization. For the most control, we recommend going with a lens blur. I feel like saying blur, 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 like Dracula. Now this filter will automatically open up a new window once it's selected. From here, you can make your blur look more like it's an effect of the camera. And you can alter the depth map to determine the focal distance, change the shape of the iris, and even change the specular highlights. Play around with the settings until it looks like the blur that you want. And when you're happy with how it's blurred, well, just simply click OK to save the blur. And there you go. Your subject is now more in focus than the background.
Why is Chubby here staring at me? Focusing.
Do you want even more customization than that? Well, you're in luck, as there is a larger library of blurs to choose from. Navigate to Filter, and this time choose Blur Gallery. Select any of the options and new properties will open up. Look at the left side window of the blur tools. Here you can choose from several different blurs and set their levels. The blur options include field, iris, tilt shift, path, and spin. You can even combine different blurs to create a unique effect. The right blur will depend on what your background looks like. If your background has traffic, using the path blur can be a great way to create a motion blur for passing cars. If your background could use some style, well, give the spin blur a spin. If you want to make your background more surreal with a swirling effect. Now, just don't go too overboard with the spin. While playing with these options, don't forget to check out the extra effects in the bottom part of the left side window. You alter the light range and the motion effects and change the graininess of the blurs. Take your time to find the right combination of blurs that suit your scene the best. When you're happy with the results, just click OK to close the gallery and finalize your blur. But now let's say you don't want the entire background blurred. Perhaps there's a part that you want to stick out along with your subject particularly. If you've got a steady hand, well, you can just simply paint the blur onto your background. Go and look in your toolbar for the Blur Brush tool. It should look like a teardrop. After selecting the brush, set the size, the strength, and the type of blur that you'd like to apply. Now, all you have to do is paint the area that you want to be blurred. Now, the blur brush works similarly to the paint brush. The harder you paint over an area, the blurrier it becomes. Now, this method can get a bit intricate and tricky, and this is why it's only recommended for selective blurring. You may want to practice a bit if you're going to go this route. So let's recap the ways to blur your background, shall we? No matter the blur method you choose, it's best to isolate your subject from the background by using the object selection tool and placing your foreground on a new layer. Blur filters are the best way to go for blurring the whole area. For blurring part of the background, you can just use the brush tool. Either way will work, but we recommend trying both first to see which works best for you. And that about wraps up this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to like and subscribe for more Photoshop tutorials. And with that, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.